Hey everybody, Heather here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit, share an experience of driving somebody under the influence of drugs. I've done it a few times. I'm pretty sure you can tell when someone's high. But I had an experience the other night. There was a lady. I got a request and I went to pick her up, and my time sitting there was already at 5 minutes, and so I decided to text her. So I texted her and I said, "Your Uber is here. Do you still need a ride?" And she responded saying, "Yes, I'll be right out." So I waited about 2 minutes longer, and I was going to cancel, but I just waited it out. It was a little bit slow, so just waited. So anyway, she comes in the car, and she immediately just starts fussing with her purse, and just erratically speaking. And I told her, "Okay, well, you need to put your seatbelt on, please," and she did do that. And so I started to take her to a destination, and she was just fiddling and fiddling and fiddling with her purse, taking stuff in, taking stuff that was in, out, and talking. And in between talking, she'd ask me questions, or at least I assumed she was asking me questions. And when I would try to respond, she would continue talking over it. So I just, okay, whatever. And just moving around constantly. So I got her to her destination, and she told me right before we pulled in, she said, "Oh, can you wait for me? I'm just going to run in and run out." And I was like, "Okay, as long as it's just in and out, no problem." So she got out. I watched her go in, and I looked down, or my phone or something, just for a second. And then all of a sudden there she was, coming back. And I was like, wow, that was fast. So she got in the car, and I told her, I go, "Wow, that was really fast." And she goes, "Oh, they're closed. Can take me here." So another place. So I'm like, okay. So I proceeded to take her to where she asked to go. And as we're getting ready to pull up to park, she sees a guy coming out of the store, and she immediately said, "Don't let him see me, don't let him see me." And I was like, "Oh, do you know him?" And she's like, "No, just don't let him see me." And she laid down on the back of my seat. And as I'm pulling in, she goes, "What is he doing now? What is he doing now?" And she kept asking me that, and I was giving her like a play-by-play. I'm like, "Well, he's walking to his car." I mean, the guy probably thought I was just staring at him just to stare at him, but that made it really weird. And she kept saying, "He can't see me, he can't see me." And he's smiling at this point at me. I guess he's thinking I'm flirting with him because I keep looking at him. And I was like, oh my God. And she continued, "What is he doing? What is he doing?" And I said, "Well, he's in his car now." And I go, "Looks like he's going to go." But when I looked over again, he's staring at me. And I was like, oh my God, this is so awkward. And so I just kept my head straight. And she's continually, blah, 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 saying stuff back there. And while she's laying on my seat and moving around, it was crazy. So in my peripheral, I could see that, he started to back out. So I did one more glance. I go, okay, he's backing out. And so she hopped up, got out of the car before he was even completely pulled out, went in the store, and I was like, oh my God, this is just crazy. And she came out at a reasonable time. She had a bag. She got in the car. She asked me to take her back to her house. So she's fiddling with the bag, fiddling with her purse, moving around. I had to tell her, "Can you put your seatbelt on, please?" again. And she's just talking and talking. And after fooling with her purse for quite a while, I guess she found her cell phone, and she began texting. And she's talking what she's texting, and that sounded pretty erratic itself too. And she's breathing really heavy. At this point, she looks sweaty. So she had all the telltale signs for meth. So I get her to her home, and I pull up. And when I'm a minute out to get to her home, I get a ping for another pickup that's lined up for when I drop her off. I can continue on to pick up this other person. So I accepted it. And that was like a minute out. And so we pull up, and I said, okay, well, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And she didn't even really pay attention to what I was saying, and just started going in her purse, digging away. And it went on, and I finally said, okay, well, I'm sorry, I do have another pickup lined up, so, I do have to ask you if you can go ahead and get out now. I'm sorry. And she just kind of like, okay, and moving around, her head's moving around, and breathing heavy still, and just kept going through her purse, like seriously searching for something deep on the bottom. And she started taking stuff out again, and I said, I'm sorry, but you're really gonna have to go. I do have another person I have to pick up. And she's like, okay. So she was getting her stuff all in there. She finally gets out. Right when she's getting out, I get a phone call. And it's one of those numbers, that Uber associates us together, the passenger and the driver, some weird area code. And I'm like, oh, great, I knew it was a passenger, so I answered. And as I'm answering, I'm like, okay, see ya, have a good night, to the other lady. And it was the passenger, and she's like, oh, I'm just calling you to see, when are you going to be here? And I go, I apologize. Got a little tied up with the passenger. I'm on my way. So she shut my door and left, and I hung up and I went on my way. But I tell you, it left me a little flustered. I felt some anxiety, and, like I'm high, I was like kind of rattled, but it was just so much distraction. Even though, I just tried to stay focused on my driving and where I'm going. But the constant just moving all over, and the breathing heavy, and the talking erratic, in between asking me questions, and then the fussing with the purse, and then the bag. It was so much, and everything took so long. And to get out of my car took forever. It was just, I don't like driving with tweakers, I guess you could call it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody out there, but oh my gosh, everything takes forever, and it's in a very erratic deal. I mean, it's weird. It's not your everyday pick up a passenger. They're nice and quiet and back, and, very small chat back and forth. Or even if you get someone that's more lively and it's like, yeah, and you have this great old conversation and stuff, it's not all spun out and weird and, erratic and, flinging around their bodies and laying down, sitting up, and anyway, it was interesting. Hopefully I won't get her very often. I don't know. We'll see. I have had a few, but that night, just the other night, was a little intense. But I got her to her destination, 2 destinations, got her back home safely, and that's what counts. So anyway, I thought I'd share me driving a tweaker. I thought you might find it interesting. But anyway, there's my story. And I guess the next time I go on will be probably Friday night. That's when I do most of my driving really good, Friday night. So y'all take care out there, stay safe, and I will talk to you soon.